the next speaker is Péter Rakyta, and he's the guy who has experience in Barren Plateaus. So wedge-line search strategy for navigation through the Barren Plateaus in quantum circuit training. So Péter, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So my name is Péter Rakyta. I am here on behalf of University, University, and also the Wigner Research Center. And I would like to talk about a topic with a very long title. To make things clear, let me break this title into parts. So in the third line, you see training of quantum circuit. This is something we are familiar with. You know, we are replacing some classical parts of machine learning models with quantum part. This is easy. We would like to tune the parameters of this quantum circuit to be able to do some useful tasks with the circuit. Okay, and this part of the whole process is not easy because instantly we are running into several serious numerical problems, which is called Barren Plateau. This is in the second line of the title. It means that the parameter space over which we are training the circuit becomes exponentially flat with the number of qubits, and this is bad for quantum machine learning. Because of this, we are trying to tailor many numerical approaches, basically heuristics, to somehow overcome this problem. And this is the very first line of my title, the procedure, the strategy proposed by our group. And with this, I can also switch the slide. Okay, so here you can see a classical quantum circuit with some single qubit and two qubit operations. The parameters, the tunable parameters, are within the single qubit operations. Basically, we are talking about rotating the qubits with the continuous parameters. So these are the ones we can tune during the training of the quantum circuit. And the two qubit gates are usually implemented to induce entanglement between the qubits, which is the quantum essence of the whole quantum computing, I would say. There are many software libraries out there on the internet providing capabilities to train quantum circuits. Some of them are used to compress or optimize quantum programs, you know, to use fewer and fewer gate operations because we are still in a noisy era of quantum computing. So having less gates is something we would like to have. Other softwares are designed to specifically to do some quantum machine learning tasks. And there is another software package developed here in Hungary and called Squander, which is an acronym for Sequential Quantum Gate Decomposer. Initially, this package was designed to optimize quantum programs, but as we could develop more and more functionalities into the code base, we could add several other components, and now we can do state preparation, we can do quantum gate compilation. Also, we have some functionalities to do quantum machine learning, and all of these capabilities are supported with classical optimization techniques, specifically tuned for quantum circuit training, you know, not having the most generic versions of these optimization techniques, but somehow adapted to the specifics of the quantum circuits. So this is what the Squander package offers. And I would like to talk about one specific application, which is I think the simplest quantum machine learning task in the literature, and this is called variational quantum eigensolver. The task here is to determine, for example, the ground state energy of a physical system described by this Hamiltonian age. Okay, the idea is very simple. We can use a quantum circuit to generate a quantum state, and with this quantum state, we can evaluate the expectation value of the Hamiltonian. Now, as you can see in this whole process, we have a collaboration or interplay of classical and quantum hardware. The division of the task is that the expectation value of the Hamiltonian can be, as a very complex numerical task, can be done on a quantum processor, and the classical optimization cycle or process to optimize the parameters of the quantum circuit is driven by classical computing hardware. Okay, so this seems very easy, but when starting to do real experiments, either on a real quantum hardware, which is even harder, or in just simulation, we instantly run into this so-called Barren plateau problem I mentioned on the very first slide. And it says that by increasing the system size, let's say the number of qubits, the gradient of the cost function we are trying to optimize gets exponentially vanished. Okay, and this is a problem because you don't even know into which direction you would like to look for the optimal value in the parameter space. And this is happening already at medium-sized scales. You don't need to scale it up to billions of parameters. You are experiencing these problems already at quite small scales. Several studies in the literature also pinpointed a relation between the Barren plateau and the entanglement of the system. It means that, you know, in a quantum processor, you have many qubits. And these qubits can become entangled with each other. And as soon this entanglement between the qubits becomes high, it is more and more likely that you are getting onto a Barren plateau. So high entanglement entropy means that you are on a Barren plateau with a very high probability. And this is important thing because, you know, by monitoring the entropy, you could practically predict whether you are entering a Barren plateau or not. Based on this conclusion, many possible strategies have been proposed to somehow counterweight this Barren plateau problem. Most of these approaches propose to somehow limit the expressiveness of the quantum circuit. The idea is that when your quantum circuit is less expressive, it means that it can't generate any generic quantum state in the Hilbert space. Okay, it means that it can create less and less, let's say, entanglement, and because of that, it is much less susceptible for getting onto Barren plateau. But think about it a second. When you are limiting the expressiveness of your quantum circuit, it means that you are limiting the capabilities of your quantum machine learning model. So you can, you know, conclude that this isn't the most ideal solution for the problem. So one research work came up with a strategy not to limit the expressiveness of the circuit, but to monitor the Barren plateau with the entanglement entropy. And if getting close to a Barren plateau, decreasing the learning rate and trying to avoid the Barren plateau. Of course, by decreasing the learning rate, you are slowing down your training process, which is also not an ideal thing to do. But you know, I think it's somehow in the middle of of proposing a real solution to the problem. Instead of slowing down the learning process, we came up another idea to not to decrease the learning rate, but practically increase it and make hops in the search direction by performing some kind of efficient line search over the direction. The question is how to determine the search direction and how to set the distance of the search direction. Okay. First, I will like to outline the idea behind this strategy just in a slide, and then tell you some arguments on why it is more efficient than other approaches. So basically, you know, I've been talking about the rotation angles of the single qubit transformation. These are continuous parameters. And because we are talking about rotations, it's not surprising that we have here trigonometric functions when, when expanding the unitary transformations acting on some initial state. Let's say this initial state means that all of the qubits are in zero state. Okay, and here we expand one single gate operation with the parameter pi I. It takes in general this form. Okay, now if you calculate the resulting psi state, you can keep these trigonometric functions in the expression describing the transform state. And when you are calculating the expectation value over the Hamiltonian, you end up with the same trigonometric dependence on this parameter pi I. So the energy, the expectation value of the Hamiltonian along the specific parameters have trigonometric dependence over the parameters with a period of 2 pi and so on and so on. By sampling the cost function into these individual directions, you can build up the whole dependence over that direction by obtaining, let's say, 5 parameters. And this way, you can exactly determine the global minimum into each direction. These are denoted by these blue points on the slide. And if you define vectors d1 and d2 pointing to these blue points, and you combine this vector, you can end up with a vector, the black one, deciding on the search direction and also on the range of the line search. Okay, and this way you can be sure that you are not overstepping the minimum over this line, and yeah, it gives you know, a similar search direction like you could obtain in a gradient descent method. One very significant difference here is that we are not making this evaluation over all of the parameters in the parameter space, but taking a subset, randomly chosen subset of the parameter set, taking the minimums for all of them, then determine the the black direction, do the line search, then choose another subset from the parameters and so on. It will become very clear in the next slides why this is important. But first, let me tell about the quantum circuit we are using in the model. Basically, we are using a very dense quantum circuit with these many single qubit rotations. And basically, we are repeating these unit cells of this quantum circuit between these dashed lines several times after each other. This is what we call we call one of these elementary unit cell as a layer in the circuit, and we are repeating these layers all over again and again. And we are trying to get the ground state energy for these models, for example, the Heisenberg model or the Kitaev model describing Majorana fermions. So these are the test cases for our studies, just to verify how efficient our optimization strategy can be. And we done the simulation at 16 qubits. If you take a 16 qubit wave function, you will end up with more than 100,000 of free parameters, because this is how many components this wave function has, each having real and imaginary component, and each represent a free parameter on its own. With having 100, 500, and 1000 layers, remember these are the layers in the circuit, we can do the optimization resulting in this graph. You need to look at the very first row when the cost function as a function of the cost function evaluations now goes on. And you can see that even having 1000 layers, the number of free parameters is below what the wave function does have. So the circuit is still over-parameterized. So we are not expecting to hit the exact run state, but you can see that we are getting close to it. Now, let's compare this optimization strategy to other generic optimization engines. Here, we are comparing our work to some gradient descent-based one. GD means gradient descent, ILS means gradient descent with inexact line search. We have here the Adam algorithm, and we also have a gradient-free method developed by Pavel. Here on the left, you can see an experimental numerical experiment when we started the optimization from random parameters. It means that even when you start with totally unentangled qubits, the quantum circuit entangles them, okay, with random parameters, and because of that, you are on a Barren plateau. So here, you are starting the optimization from a point already sitting on a Barren plateau. And because of that, none of the optimization strategies could solve the problem efficiently. Ours is far the best, I would say, but still can't solve the problem. On the right side, we leave the initial parameters to be zeros, so we are not on a Barren plateau initially. And it seems that our and Pavel's optimization strategy can keep the trajectory, the optimization trajectory, out of getting onto a Barren plateau. All of the gradient-based optimization struggles to get better results, while our strategy can improve a lot on the initial state, very much, especially in the first part of the optimization. Then, because of the exact run state, you see here the entropy of the exact run state is high. The target state sits on a Barren plateau, so it becomes harder and harder to approach it. But we can approach it very close. Why is that? Yeah. So first of all, if talking about gradient descent method, we should, set the learning rate to a good value, and starting with the value 10 on a -2, we can see that a lot of oscillations happen during the optimization. It means, so this is consistent with the Barren plateau picture of the problem, having a very flat area and then a small valley when you would need to run into. When decreasing the learning rate more, you can get into the valley, but because of the gradient gets high there is a higher probability to again leave the valley, and because of this, you see even bigger oscillations. When further decreasing the learning rate, you can be inside the valley, not leaving that. But because of the small learning rate, the progress of the training is quite slow. we don't like these oscillations. It indicates that your optimization process is somehow unstable. But there is another way how to get rid of these oscillations, and this is by limiting the update of your parameters to subsets in each iteration. Let's say you have 45,000 parameters in your circuit, and you are updating them, all of them in each iteration. Okay, this is this blue line. Now, if you choose only 500 parameters, a subset, a random subset from these 45,000, you can see that the oscillation gets smaller and smaller. Okay, I don't have a mathematical rigorous explanation for this because the training of the quantum circuit is NP hard. We have heuristics for it, not. So I can give you some hand waving argument, and this is that if you limit the training of your quantum circuit in an iteration to a small subset of the parameters, basically you are doing nothing else as limiting the expressiveness of your quantum circuit, and that in that very iteration. And this helps you to not get onto a Barren plateau. We have solid proof for that provided by prior studies. Okay, so this is what can help you to increase the efficiency of your method. Here you can also see our method at the very end. This is even more improved upon the gradient descent ones because we also use some features extracted from the fact that we are training quantum circuit, and we can extract topological information from that using that procedure I have described. So here we can even improve on the gradient descent by our method using that strategy I have described. How much time I have left? 3 minutes? 5 minutes? Okay. So I won't tell you about the Pavel's method, which is a gradient-free method and getting pretty close to our method. It has a reason. I don't have time to tell you, but but I would like to pinpoint one very strong outcome of this analysis, namely that by limiting the number of parameters updated in each iteration, you are basically limiting the concurrency in your training. So to solve the numerical problems in training quantum circuit, having more and more GPUs or hardware doesn't help you. And this is very strange that you can't solve a problem by just hammering it with more and more metal. Instead of that, you can come up with a much more efficient optimization strategy, having a much less concurrency in it. Okay, and this is also valid for the Pavel. Our procedure is very similar to Pavel, just our procedure can still provide some kind of parallelism in the evaluation, while the Pavel's method is completely sequential. So our method can improve over Pavel this way. Yeah, and the training of the quantum circuits is still very time consuming. So we are trying to, we are trying to scale it up. And to do that, we still need somehow to make the evaluation of the cost function more efficient. It turns out that scientifically relevant scale, which is 16, 20 qubits, the GPU speed up to evaluate the transformation of a single state vector is very poor. So it's not easy to scale up. So we use some, or better said, we are conducting some numerical experiments to come up with some other solution to improve the state vector simulation at this relevant scales. And hopefully we will be able to come up with results very soon. Okay, so this was all I would I wanted to present to you. So if you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask. I would be glad to.
Thank you very much, Peter. So it's time for questions.
Thanks for it's really interesting. I have a comment and a question. The comment, so when you show the last part, the slide where you show how going down in the number of parameters that this one, I think this is a very nice proof of how, so this is regularization. If I look at it from the classical machine learning perspective, what you're doing is you're regularizing your network. This is what you're doing. You are reducing the importance of the number of parameters that are relevant for your optimization.
Yeah, but that's for only a single iteration. In the next iteration, there are also players in the pool.
Yeah, but when you regularize machine learning, one of the methodologies is to drop out, for example, a certain number of parameters that are randomly chosen every time. So this would very much look like that. So I think it's a very nice demonstration. But my question, so does this go beyond variational quantum eigensolvers because you have no data there?
Pardon, can you repeat your question?
So VQEs do not use input data. It's not a data-driven method. You're not learning distribution from a data. This is an optimization. It's a solver. And
yeah, that's true.
So does this apply to data-driven optimizations?
The key component is this line. No matter what, you can express your state vector in a form like this. And then how are you using your state vector to evaluate a cost function? You can end up with several variations of such a expression for the cost function, but still having trigonometric functions in it. So currently we are trying to generalize this procedure to different quantum machine learning models to show that it is applicable for other problems as well, but it's ongoing project right now. Yeah.
Other questions? I could see some hands up. If no, I would ask one that you mentioned that the GPUs are not the perfect and you move to the FPGA. So are these the ones which we have in the GPU lab, the Maxwell FPGA cards, or it require the more complex?
We have FPGA cards. We have to simulate quantum computer at this small scale. You know, the prime factor is to how efficiently you can move data, because the overall transform math, which is a simple unitary transformation, is very simple. Not much of arithmetic operations. So the key point is how fast you can move data, and this is where this data flow hardware comes into the play. They can move data very efficiently. And we already have implementation for the FPGA to transform unitaries. We used it for quantum gate compilations. So it's
practically the data flow speed is the key parameter for
it.
It doesn't matter the size of the FPGA, or does it matter?
Well, it matters. On these particular FPGAs, we could perform several hundred of gate operations at once at a single moment. Having smaller FPGAs, of course, you are getting less possibly concurrent gate operations on the circuit.
Okay.
The FPGA, the size of the FPGA really matters.
Okay, so we try to get the next one for the lab.
Yeah.
Okay, any further questions or remarks from the audience? If not, let's thanks Peter again.
Thank you very much.